Well, now, these are 5 safest investments that you can be able to take. So don't worry. Somehow some of you guys are so worried that you don't even want to take action as far as the investments are concerned. And you're always like on my comments, you're like, Joseph, what's the safest investment on him? I honestly understand. That's totally a viable reason, a viable question to ask. Because one thing that I told you guys before is that at all the time, make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into in the investment. And the first thing that should do, investment should not violate the first principle of the capital preservation. So the investment that you're getting yourself into ensures that the capital preserved, or your capital is actually preserved. Then that is an amazing investment to get into. So without further ado, after you liking the video, making sure that you subscribe and also comment on the comment section, let's get into the business. I'm going to share with you 5 investments that are actually safe to take. And by the way, let me preserve the best as the last one, okay? Let's start with the first one, okay? Here we are. The first investment that is considered as safe to get started onto is an investment called balance fund. Balance fund. I know you've never heard of me introducing this one. This is a new area of investment which is quite popular, and it's under what we call the mutual funds, okay? Because the mutual fund is composed of different things. So balance fund is an area that you can get yourself into, and this is kind of getting 2 things at the same time. Why? Balance, there's something that they are balancing here. There are kind of 2 things that are actually being balanced. The sum of the cash, for example, if you invest on a balance fund, then your investment manager or fund manager should actually consider you investing in 2 things. Number one, they invest on what we call the equities, okay, or the stocks. We call them the stocks here in Kenya, okay. Now, or we can call them the shares. So some fraction of the money is actually directed towards the shares. Why? Because it is a balance fund. Then the other set of the money is actually directed towards something called a money market fund, okay, or safer areas. So it's like you're actually getting 2 things at the same time. You're actually getting some cash directed towards the stocks and some cash directed towards the money market fund. Why? These 2 things actually, they have different percentage in terms of the risks. Money market fund is considered as a low risk investment, and this one is actually considered as a moderate to a little bit of a high risk. So the 2 of them are actually balancing each other. So you're likely to make more money on the stocks, obviously due to the capital gain and the dividends and what have you, but also on the money market fund, ensure that that one is actually cautioned. The fraction of the investment, it depends. It can actually be invested on a ratios of, say, from 50 to 70%. Also from this one, it can also be 50 to 70%. What does it mean? For example, if they go by 50, then by default this one will be 50. If they go this one by 70%, this one goes by 30%. And guess what? I'm going to dedicate a whole video explaining what is a balance fund. I know that one sounds like a new thing, because indeed it is, and we can be able to go ahead and take an action as far as the investment are concerned. So allow me to go to the next one. On the next option of investment is usually called the bond fund, okay? The bond fund, again, this one is considered as a low risk investment. This is one of the areas whereby you can be able to go ahead and invest in, and you can actually consider yourself as you are safe. I'm moving towards the more stable and more safer areas to invest. So what is a bond fund? A bond fund is basically the money that you actually invest with your this company that is actually regulated by Capital Market Authority of Kenya. That is for the sake of Kenya. And of course, that money that you actually direct there, that money is actually channeled towards the bond. The bond here is basically where the government or the company invests on the securities that is offered by the government. That is the bonds, precisely the bonds, I should say. That actually ensures that your money is safe and secure. The money is actually precisely invested on those bonds. Then therefore, it means that your money is not only safe, but also secured, and at the same time is actually earning you something at the end of the day, okay? Now, the point is that one is an amazing area. And again, I'm going to make a whole dedicated video talking about the bond fund as an investment on its own, the requirements, what do you need to do, who offer this kind of a thing, and all those kind of things, like how much do you need for you to get started on. By the way, this one is quite amazing, especially if you do not have like a huge chunk of cash to get started on treasury bills and treasury bonds. That is through the primary market, because that one may be a little bit high, and you can actually use this route and achieve them again if you do not have the money. For example, you go for the bonds, require like 50,000 Kenyan shillings. You go for the bills, require like 100,000 Kenyan shillings. Let's say you don't have that amount of money. You can as well start somewhere and then build yourself as you grow to the next level. Then you can reconsider maybe investing through the primary market, that is directly by yourself, so that you can be able to do something on the same regard. All right, so let's go to the third one. Now, the third one here is none other than investing your money into something called the treasury bonds. Okay, the treasury bonds, now From this one to the last one, this one are now considered safe and stable areas where you can be able to invest your cash. And by the way, if you ask me, this is, I mean, in any given country, provided the country is actually stable, it's not like in chaos or crisis and something, the bonds and the bills, these are the considered areas of the best investments, okay? So I'm going to talk about them intertwinedly, okay? So interchangeably. So treasury bills, you know what? This is one of the areas that you can be able to put your money and you have a sleep, a being that is amazing, that you're so cool and you're so much relaxed that you know that your money is actually safe. So treasury bonds basically is lending government your cash in a long period of time. Treasury bills are classified into two in Kenya. We have the FXD, we have the IFB. You need like 50,000 to get started on this. This is quite an amazing area whereby you can be able to get started on, and doesn't have to, you don't have to be here in Kenya like physically for you to be investing in these areas. These are areas that you can be able to pick from wherever you are and be able to invest your cash and be able to do something at the end of the day, rather than having your cash actually lying idle. And actually, let me tell you one thing, the treasury bonds, this one you find like it's a long-term way of investment. So if you're looking forward into having a package that can be able to facilitate, maybe say your pension or maybe sort of a passive income, the money is earning you something as you do your other things, does not limit you from whatever you are doing. So this is an amazing tool to actually pick it up as far as the investments are concerned. So always consider this one as an area whereby you can be able to invest your cash, grow it to the next level, and also make sure that you expand the basket of income. Allow me to introduce the fourth one, kind of goes hand in hand with this one, and that one is none other than having what we call the treasury bills. The treasury bills of this case regard, both of them actually means lending government your cash, but this bills one goes for a short period of time. All right, short period of time. The short period of time on here, it goes for a maximum of 1 year. It does not go beyond. This one goes from talk of 2 years all the way to 30 years, okay? So it depends. If you want to go the long-term way and you want to go in a safer way, go with the bonds. If you want to go the short-term way, go with the bills, because the bill does not exceed 1 year. So let's say maybe you have some cash there and you're like, guess what? I don't want to let this money stay idle in a bank. Yes, I'm looking forward into starting a business. Probably I want to buy something, but so far I'm not sure. So if you don't want to get that money lying idle somewhere, so you can actually go ahead, take it and put it in a treasury bill for that stretch of the year. And in Kenya right now, they're offering quite a good returns. For example, around 16.8%, depends on the time we're watching this video. Again, I'm making this video at around June of 2024. So now that a percentage is quite amazing, because now if you subject that into deductions of the taxes, maybe it goes back to somewhere like 14.5%. 14.5% of a million bob, for example, if you invest your million shilling, if you have it, then it means that you can be able to get a substantial amount of money. That's like 145,000 per month, or rather per year. That's quite an amazing, huge cash of money. So by the time now you've made your mind, you not only have your a million bob, but you also have something on top of that, and you can actually go purchase whatever you wanted to purchase, and then you're left with some babies here that you can be able to do something as you move along. So bills and bonds, I would say they are the safest areas. Why? Because most or all the institutions that they invest, they usually channel their money towards these particular areas. And I know there might be a political question here, like, hey, what if I don't trust my government and what have you? It does not matter who is in power, okay? There's a difference between the president and the presidency. For example, can you imagine this? And I want you to reason with me. For example, can you imagine this? Yeah. See, the current government maybe says they sign a contract with a country X. And then the current president who did sign the thing then is no longer the president. Another one comes in. That country actually signs because it's a written agreement. So there is no way you can say, hey, guess what? I'm not the one who borrowed. No, go ask there. No, it doesn't work that way. So a debt is a debt. Whoever is actually out there must actually go ahead and pay that debt. In Kenya, we have never experienced anything like a crisis whereby the government has ever defaulted. I'm not trying to rubber stamp them, and I'm not trying to say that it can't happen. It can, but it's actually a way complicated process. When the government collapses in terms of the defaulting, it means even the money that in your bank account is not even safe, because these financial institutions are so much intertwined. And this is why we always advise that it's always good to make sure that you diversify. Get some hard asset, get some soft asset, get some properties, get some real estate, get some, you're all over the places, because you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And for God's sake, you must have learned a lesson during the COVID-19 era, whereby it taught us like huge information of what you're not supposed to do or do at the same time. Okay, Now we go to the safest one, which is none other than having yourself something called money market fund, or commonly known as MMF. This one is that area that is regarded as so much safe that you can even invest your money and be sure that your money is actually, it's only that you cannot say it's 100% sure, because honestly there is no investment that is 100% sure for sure. But honestly speaking, this is an area whereby you can invest your cash. You know why I love money market fund? Because of its liquidity that you can be able to access your money at any given time. Yeah, you can withdraw that cash at any given time. You can be able to go ahead and monitor the performance of your money saved from online from that given account. In the moment you initiate a withdrawal, you can be able to get your cash at any given moment. I mean, it's like an amazing area. And then the area they're supposed to invest is actually diversified. They invest in commercial papers that does not exceed 13 months. They invest in areas called treasury bills. They invest in areas called fixed investment funds, or fixed investment areas, or highly negotiated in fixed whatever those kind of areas. So it means that the liquidity is actually assured, and you can be able to access your money at any given time. You can as well deposit any money at any given moment. Does not require like a huge chunk of cash to get started on. It offers compound interest. That's why I say this is an amazing area that you can be able to pick it up, and it's not complicated at the same time. If you've never gotten into investment, this is like the first one you're getting into. You can pick it up and you move from there, and then you grow yourself to the next level. It is not a complicated kind of a thing that you can actually pick out there. So anyway, guess what, guys? Those are just but examples of the safest areas that you can get yourself started onto. Those are 5 of them. So the question is, so which one would you go with among the 5 of them? So if you ask me, are you able to actually get all of them? Because all of them fulfills a certain goal. For example, there's what money market fund does. I've told you it gives you the liquidity. The bills also gives you the liquidity. That is after 1 year. The bonds again gives you, well, sort of more of a fixed amount of money. Say you want to fix that cash maybe for the next 10 years, 8 years, or maybe let's say for 2 or 3, or whichever the period of time. So kind of does not really give you that liquidity, but at least your money, you're gonna be liquid, let's say in a particular period of time. But in between, before the maturation period to get back your face value or the invested capital, then you'll be actually enjoying the interest along the way. And they usually pay semi-annually, meaning after every 6 months. So the bond fund, again, that way also ensures you that you can get into these bills or bonds and what have you, using the other route, whereby if you do not have a huge chunk of cash. Okay, and the last one is actually the balance fund. Again, I said here, this is when you're getting 2 things at the same time. You're getting the money market fund into it, and then you're getting what you call the equities or the stocks. So some of your money is invested on the MMF to ensure that they are safe and secured, and the other thing is actually invested on what we call the stocks. So again, there they are. So you don't have any excuse to say, hey, I fear to invest, or now you have the 5 safest areas where you can be able to invest, because never violate the first principle that your capital is actually at risk. And guess what? That's my submission. It's done. It's just simple. So anyway, this is Good Joseph speaking. I always post a video each and every day, so you have all the reason to make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you like the video, and at the same time, if in a position to, share the video out, and see you in the next one. And by the way, don't forget, you can always approach me. I have booklets on these investments, so you can always get a copy. It's only 280, depends on which one you want, and then you can be able to get that copy by virtue of you taking my number from the description of this specific video. Shoot me a call. My email is also there. Shoot me a call. Let's talk, have a discussion. For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one.